Good afternoon, happy stampers, and welcome to my happy stamping studio. My name is Judy Anderson from judystamps.com, and I hope to inspire you in your everyday paper crafting. How is everybody doing today? It's been beautiful here, and I have been working in my garden, and some of my neighbors have been working in their gardens. And this actually inspired me. The inspiration for this card today came from a scrapbook page I did for my neighbor. She loves to paint like I do, and she loves to garden like I do. So we get along quite well. And we were working out in our gardens the other day. And when I saw her, I walked over and we were chatting. And she goes, yeah, she goes, I just imagine my gardens as my palette, and I'm painting a picture. And, I have mainly perennials. I do put some seeds out there and stuff, but her gardens are just gorgeous. And I said, she goes, yeah, she said, I love taking pictures of my garden and stuff and putting them up in my house. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to make her a scrapbook page where she can put some of her favorite flowers and put them in a frame and put them on her wall. And so I did. But I forgot to take a picture of it before I gave it to her. And she is out of town right now, so I can't get it from her. I don't know if she has put pictures in it yet or not. She was trying to decide what she was going to put in on her frame. So if I get a chance, I will take a picture of that and post it here on my Facebook page. But in the meantime, we're actually these are the supplies we're going to be using. I am using the Floral Impressions 12 by 12 Designer Series paper, one of the sheets from that, and then the Trusty Tools stamp set and dies. I also already pre-punched a couple pieces with our Heartfelt Hexagon punch. This is one of my favorite punches to put sentiments on and some designs on. It's like that perfect size punch. So if you're looking for that perfect size punch, this is it. Here's the number in case you're wanting to know. I want to remind you all before I forget that we have our buy one, get one free. Oh, yeah, free. Don't we wish? Buy one, get one 50% off on our suites and any of the products within those suites. I do want to tell you that if you purchase a suite and then you purchase a bundle, you will get that bundle at the 50% off. But if you do a designer series paper and then a bundle, the designer series paper will be the half off. So be careful in how you put them into your order. If you have any questions, just email me or shoot me a text. You guys know I'm always here for you. Or you can also call straight to Stampin' Up! And they will help you with it. But today we're using the Trusty Tools. We're using the paintbrush image. And I'm going to be using the thank you from this stamp set. In fact, let me take that out because I have not taken it out yet. This is going to be a little bit of a thank you card for a friend. And I've got this little ink image also I forgot to take out. So we've got that. Grab my block for my sentiment. Okay, and then the die. So the die we're going to be using is this paintbrush die. Okay, but this has all kinds of tools. This makes great Father's Day cards. We got Father's Day coming up, or even a Father's Day scrapbook page. The colors I'm going to be using today for my watercoloring. Okay, I do have a piece of gum in, but I'm still getting this frog in my throat. And Strawberry Slush, Peach Pie, and Pool Party. We've got Strawberry Slush ink for our sentiment, Stays on Black. So we're using Stays on Black with our photopolymer stamps. So we know we need to clean those immediately after stamping those. And I'm also going to be using Memento ink when I can. And then this is the sheet that I am using. Now, I already cut a 3-inch strip across lengthwise, so I'm getting all the different colors. Excuse me. Oh, I had to sneeze. Sorry. I covered it up, but I don't know if you heard it. So I wanted a little bit of each of the colors. So what I did is I cut a 3-inch strip. And when I cut that 3-inch strip, I then cut around all the floral images. I'm going to flip this around. So I cut, this is the bottom, I believe. So I cut around these. Now I can make another card with this, with these extras, or I could cut these apart and implement them in this card. So the colors I chose once again. This is a little bit of Misty Moonlight with the Pool Party, Peach Pie, Strawberry Slush. So those are going to be the colors of my flowers and our watercolor piece that we make. And we're going to divide this up into different sections here. So my card base is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4. I have a piece of scrap white for my paintbrushes. I have a piece of old olive and a piece of basic white for the inside and for the front. Here's a scrap for my sentiment, and then here's those 2 punched pieces that I was talking about. Okay, we're going to set this all to the side, and I'm going to keep my basic white here. And this is the one that's going to be in the front. Now, I decided I want to show you how I go about doing this. So I set my paper on my block. And because when I do my spritzing, I want to know where I want the colors. Then I know I'm going to line 3 paintbrushes along here. So I'm just kind of looking at the distance in which I want to do that watercoloring or that watercolor effect. So I'm just going to mark this here and again about here, and then each of the sides, and I'm going beyond, and then the bottom. So when I remove that, I know my watercoloring splotches need to be within this square right here. Okay, now that's not going to come off, and it's not going to bleed with the colors because I use my Stampin' Blend, and that's alcohol marker, so that is not going to mix up with my watercolors. Okay, so I have this. Then, and I just realized I don't have my spritzer. I forgot to spill a spritzer with plain water. I'm lucky I have one here. Well, I have watercolor brushes that have water in them. So we will. Oh, no, I have one. It looks like it's dirty, but it's just stained from alcohol and ink color. So I've got that. Okay, so we're going to take our colors. But first, I want to decide which order I want to put my design, my flowers on there. So I am going to do the blues in the middle, and let's see which way these fit best. No, I think they're going to fit this way. Now I'm going to also be doing a little bit of watercoloring on these also, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So I know my blue is going to be in the middle, my peach pie, and my strawberry slush. Now I did them in this order also because if they bleed together, they're not going to get muddy. So be careful when they're going to turn kind of purpley in between, or a little bit of a hue of purple in between if they happen to bleed together. So be real careful when you're choosing your colors in the order that you are doing them in. I'm changing my mic here. I had it on a sweater and my lights are making me warm. There we go. So I said I was going to do the strawberry slush. then the pool party, and then the peach pie. So we're going to open these up, and I'm just going to take and I'm going to squiggle along here. Not a straight line, just kind of haphazardly. There can be spaces in between if we want. Now the pool party you're not going to see as much, but it's getting on there. I'm going to drag it to the right a little bit. And I'm hoping that it's, you may make sure I got enough. Yeah, there's plenty of ink in there. And then once again, my peach pie. And I'm going to go wide with the peach pie and a little bit skinny. Just kind of draw it around. Okay, now this is where the magic happened. We are going to spritz our block. Okay, so I'm just going to spritz it. I want that to become watery and a little runny. The more water you put on there, the lighter the ink's going to be. You can kind of manipulate it a little bit by moving it back and forth. That'll move the colors. And we want to go down here. This is the bottom of our paper. And you know what? I did it backwards. So I'm going to clean it off. I have to do it opposite. I forgot when I flip it, it's opposite. So let's start over. I'm glad I did that. I could have done it either way, I guess, but I do want it in that order, just the way the flowers laid out, because I'm hoping not to have to color those flowers, cut those flowers out, is my whole goal here. You know, I like to make it a little bit easier. And color, a little bit more blue in there. And if you notice, the strawberry slush was the darkest color, right? So we're just going to kind of blotch it like that. Okay, let's spritz it again. We're going to move our paper. Okay, manipulate it a little bit. This is good and runny this time. Pay attention to where the bottom of our cardstock is. Flip it over. Get it on here. And this is where the magic happens. Look at that. Okay, I should have probably put a little bit more water on this side, but that's okay for my strawberry slush. And look at that. Now, if you didn't want that to go over there, sometimes if you're act quick enough, you can take a paper towel or something and blot it. We're going to let that dry a little bit. In the meantime, we're just going to set it aside. We're going to grab our scrap and let's get stamping. So we are going to stamp our paintbrushes. Once again, I'm using Stays On ink here. So I am going to clean these between every single stamp. It's just because I don't want my stamp to become a little bit gummy, which the chemical reaction between the Stays On and the stamp. It's the material that the photopolymer is made out of. Hello, hello. Yes, it is a beautiful day out there. Here, how's the weather where you're at? Okay. I think this would make a beautiful birthday card. As well, we're doing a thank you card. Okay, I want to color the brush ends the same as the ink. So I think I'm going to get all the colors of ink also. So I'm going to use it. So we're going to use our strawberry slush. I'm going to stamp off because I want these lighter. I don't want these quite as dark. So we have our strawberry slush, nice and light, just like I wanted. Okay, then we have pool party. So I should have taken those out in the beginning, but I didn't think of it. Sorry. Thought I had everything ready. Okay, our pool party. And that's going to be really light, but that's what I want. Want those handles to be a little bit lighter. I want them to coordinate. Now, you could do these all in one color also. You could pick like a crumb cake or like I think Darling Duckling would be a cute handle for this. Nice and bright. Or even Daffodil Delight. There we go. We've got those. Now we're going to do the brush tips. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the ink, but I am going to put this on here. I'm going to spritz it just because I don't want to use another product. I don't want to have to use another tool. You could use your aqua painters, but see how that kind of blends that out a little bit. Okay, now make sure you clean your stamp between every image when you do this because you're changing your colors. Okay, and it's okay if it's blotchy. Okay, and then the pool party. Ooh, I got a lot of ink on this block. There we go. Now, if you wanted it a little bit darker at the tips, you can take your finer tip and just color it a little bit on the end so that it looks a little bit darker, like it's blending out. I kind of like that. Gives it a little bit more dimension. Okay, here we go. We're going to be cutting those out in a minute. I want them to dry just a little bit. So while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to put our cap here. We're going to go ahead and do our sentiment. For our sentiment, I am going to use my Memento ink. So we're getting all our stamping done. Put it on here. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to cut that out or not. I am thinking I'm going to. Okay, so we have all our coloring. So next we are going to do our die cutting. And I'm going to just take this off here. So let me grab my cut and emboss machine. I am using my magnetic plate that I purchased when we had the other cutting machine. I know I just had this here. But sometimes it doesn't hold it on straight. So I am still going to use a Post-it note holder. Little piece. And this is one of those times that you wish they included more than one of the dies in the set. I love that many of our new dies, like the smaller pieces, like small flowers and leaves, they're including 2 or 3, sometimes 4 of those dies in there, which make cutting those out a lot quicker. Let's see if this is going to stick. Okay, yeah, we're meeting for Stamp Club tomorrow and my in-town class. A lot of fun. If you'd like some information and you live in the Downers Grove, Westmont, Lisle, Naperville area, give me a contact. We'd love to have you join us. It's a lot of fun. It's about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. We're celebrating one of our members' 60th birthday tomorrow. I'm not going to give her a name because I gave her age. So we've got those cut. Get my die cut so I don't lose that. Okay, so we have all our pieces here. So let's grab these all out. And we are going to begin with our cover. So this is pretty dry. Not as dry as I'd like it to be, but with it being hot and humid outside, we have our air on. I could blast it with my heat gun, but I think it'll be fine. We're going to put this on here. And that old olive base isn't quite a 1/4 inch. It's actually 3/16. Okay, now we want to place our, we need to do one more thing yet. We need to water blast these. So once again, I am going to grab a block. I lost the block. Right here, I am going to take, let's take the peach pie first, because that's the lightest color. And I'm just going to, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to scribble. And in fact, I have the ink pad. I want this maybe just a tad bit darker on this one. So you can also take your, if you don't have the marker, you can take your ink pad and blotch it on your big block. Now, it's easier with the markers when you have smaller spots to do, but on this, I can use this. So I'm going to hold that up. I'm going to grab my spritzer and move all this out of the way and put this here, and I'm going to spritz it. And I want quite a bit of water on there. And I don't want that running all around. I'm going to wiggle that around a little bit. And we're going to put it here. And then we're going to splotch it on that watercolor, that designer series paper. Okay. And what that does is that has given that background a little bit of depth and the flowers. Now that one got a little bit darker than I wished it would be. And I am going to have, because I put so much water on there, I have a feeling I'm going to have to use my heat gun. And use the pool party. This time I want to make sure this is good and clean. No color. Pool party is one that I should use the ink pad for, because that color is a little light. I'm not going to put quite as much color on as I did with that. I thought that peach pie was going to come a lot lighter, but you know what? Experiment with this, you guys. When I did the last one, it wasn't quite as dark on her scrapbook page. Well, I'm gonna blotch this a little bit. I think I got a little bit too heavy in there. I'm gonna put that on there. That's more like it. So it's taken that white away. Now you could also do the same thing with an aqua painter or a watercolor brush and just color in between those flowers a little bit. Okay. Very little strawberry slush. That's our dark color. Okay, I'm just misting that. Dab and smear it a little bit with my finger. So we get inky fingers, right? Okay, where's that strawberry slush? Okay, this is going to be nice and light too. And you can do it a couple times if it doesn't have quite enough color on there. But see how that melts that background in there? Like I said, that peach got a little bit dark, but that's okay. What I'm actually going to do is take my marker, just kind of highlight around these flowers just a little bit. I've told you there's no mistakes in stamping. It's just opportunity. And this is also why, you know, when I do some coloring, and I always say it's always easier to add ink than take ink away. This is why. But by coloring around these, it's darkening up behind it a little bit, giving it a shadow, and checking those out. Okay, so we have our flowers already. We have our paintbrushes already. And we need to start assembling this together. I may need to cut some of these images a little bit more. Let me move some of this stuff out of my way. Get these out in my paintbrushes. Okay, my viewers, help me out. Where did I put my paintbrushes? I moved them out of the way so they didn't get spritzed. And I don't see them. Did they fall off the edge of my... Well, I don't see them. They've got to be here. I've got all my stamps. I just need the images that are cut out. So it's okay. We'll use this one first as our blue. And we want that put on here. Now, I am going to cut around some of these a little bit more. Get that blue strip in there. I'd like to put it all the way up to here. I think I can cut that stem out a little bit. So this is where I take a look at my images and decide where I want to cut them. Now, I don't throw anything away. I will keep that. I like that with a little bit of the blue on the back. We have our peach here, or our peach pie. And we are going to cut. This one is really wet, you guys. I overdid it on this one, but when it dries, it will lighten a little bit. See how this is going to go, and we're going to cut right around this. So I'm cutting again more of this image, this paper out. Okay. I'm going to trim this right up here. Okay. Setting this. This will go in front of it. Now, I have space up here. I have this flower here. So I'm going to cut around this flower. Sorry for the dog barking. That would be our great Rosie. Nosy Rosie. Nobody comes near our yard without her telling us. She used to bark a lot, but we've gotten her. So we let her bark twice. Because that's why we have our pets, is to help protect us. So I don't believe that a dog should never bark. It's just when they constantly bark, they are obnoxious. So we let her know that it's okay to bark twice. And then when we tell her to stop, she stops. Although sometimes she gets really anxious when the mailman comes. Okay, I'm not going to place these on here yet because it's possible I'm going to use some dimensionals on there. And now we have our strawberry slush on this side. And I think I'm going to cut around this one here. Like that. And then I'm going to cut this little one out. right here. So a lot of fussy cutting today. Did you guys go to my blog last week and see what Tammy did with the card that I made last week? She made it simpler. She's a beginning stamper, and her adventures are for those of you who are beginning stampers. Okay, I like the way this came out. So I'm going to begin to put this down. Now, because this paper got a little wet, I'm just going to take my marker, a pen, a pencil, and just wrap that to the back just a little bit. I just love what Tammy did with it. And she just shows you how you can take some of my designs and make them simpler. Although Tammy has told me that she feels my designs are pretty simple. Because, you know, she goes, I like that you show simple things. And it's like, well, even us avid stampers like to do things that are a little bit easier, and you still get good looks, you know. If you want to fussy cut a lot and die cut a lot, you know, you're more than welcome. I do like that, but most of my cards are lean towards simple avid stamping, and see how it blends into that little bit of that wash behind it. Okay, this one, I've got to be careful. It's still damp. Okay, like I said, I did kind of put too much ink on this one, but it's okay. Mother Nature is not perfect, and neither is Judy. Okay, and I overlap that. It's okay to overlap that. So both of these overlap, and see how that little bit of a wash there goes with that. Okay, so now Judy needs to find those paintbrushes. So give her a second, and she will find them. Got all my paper here. I've got all my ink pads. I don't have anything sitting around here, so they couldn't have gone too far. Oh, they didn't go too far. They fell on the floor. Okay, so we have our paintbrushes. Got our pool party. We have our strawberry slush, and we have our peach pie. I am going to raise those up with dimensionals. I want those popping up. Let's get those on there. Yeah, you know, I haven't told this too many stories today, but I've got a neighbor on the other side, and they lived. I live in the house that I grew up in. We purchased it from my mother years ago and moved into it when we decided to sell our larger home that we had with our 4 children. And my mom had Alzheimer's, and I wanted to help take care of her when she needed it. So we sold our larger home, and I moved back home to this home. And so my neighbor, they have this cedar fence. And I love cedar fences because they gray and, you know, they look great. They never stained it or anything. But she had been talking that, oh, you know, my fence looks terrible, blah, blah, blah. And I said, do you mind if I paint a mural on my side? I asked her last year. And she goes, oh, I don't know if you want to, because a lot of it needs replacing, the boards. And her husband had started replacing some of them, and my husband was helping him. And so I says, well, I'll wait till next year. Well, this year, last year, they recited their house after we did, and they had some storm damage. We didn't. So they redid their house. And after they redid their house, she decided that the fence looked terrible. She goes, I really want to replace the fence next year. And she says, So don't paint it. Don't plan on painting anything. Because I was going to start looking for paints, exterior paints to be able to do, paint it economically. And I said, okay. I says, we'll wait and see what happens. Well, they are going to replace it. They aren't going to do a cedar fence. They're going to do one of those plastic, not plastic, but whatever those fences are that aren't cedar. So I'm so glad that I did not paint that fence. Okay, so we have that. Now, isn't that cool looking, you guys? Now, see, this is where I said I may want to add a flower. And I think I'm going to add one right there. And this one, I'm going to make this one a little bit different. I'm going to pop this one up. It's going to be a little rebel, just like Tammy. It's not going to be like the rest. It likes to be different. So we're going a little bit longer today, but we're almost done. Okay, so we've got the front of our card. And isn't that gorgeous? Now, on the scrapbook page, what I did is I did a paintbrush by each color, and I did a photo below it, room for a photo. So here we have the inside of our card. I am going to go ahead and just put this on here. Now, if you wanted to, you could do a watercolor wash on here too. And I may, if in the very end. Our card, we're going to fold it down. Like this. And then it's going to come back up again. Like this. And this card is going to be placed here, and we're only going to glue the upper half. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put glue on these three edges, and then on this edge, we're going to run the glue here so that we make sure we get the glue in that upper section there. So we are there, and I am hoping that I was in the center. I didn't pay attention to where I was doing my work today. Okay, so that is a fun card in itself, but we want to finish this up. And I am going to do a little watercolor splash on here. And so I am going to get this, and we have to do it opposite. So we're going to do our strawberry slush. Yep. Our pool party, which I'm going to use my ink pad because that to me did not come out quite as dark as I want. If you have a spot, use a spot, you guys. Spots are really good for, yeah. I got it way over there where I didn't want it. Where is my, I have to wipe it off with my finger. There we go. Then we want our peach pie. Okay, I'm going to grab our, move all this out of the way. Make sure when you're spritzing, you move your paper out of the way. Don't ask me how I know to warn you guys about that. And I'm just going to wiggle this around a little bit more. And we are going to splotch this on here. And if it goes up farther, it goes up farther. It's a-okay. See how it kind of went up? And look how much darker. So every time you do this, it's going to come out a little bit different. It just depends on how much ink, how much water you put on there. This is going to go on the inside of our card. Pull that down. Put this way. Okay. Let's get these. This is going to be here. We are going to cut this in half. Okay, and I'm going to cut it on a diagonal. And this is going to go this way. So I want it sticking out on this side, and then the bottom one is going to stick out on the other side. So I want to put some adhesive on here, a bit of glue. Okay. This one is going to go this way. So I line up that left edge right there. Well, not quite. Have a little bit of a reveal there. I didn't like that big lip there. And then this one is going to be the opposite. Just like that. So that goes and it gives you a border. Okay, I'm going to take a couple dimensionals, put them on there because I want that to pop up. Okay. Stick those there. And stick that like that. This is kind of, this, I'm going to warn you guys, this label is kind of an optical illusion too. It looks kitty wampus sometimes. Now this is where I didn't know if I want to take the thank you and leave it straight or want to cut around it, but I think I'm going to leave it straight. Just like that. With this thank you. I think that kind of goes with the theme there. And let's add a couple flowers on there. I have this one up here. Then we have this little strawberry slush one. Just a little dab will do ya. And that one right there. Okay, and then our card, when it is being displayed, will be displayed just like that. So it's an easel card. But isn't that cute? How fun is that, you guys? I just love this. I love this when I did a scrapbook page last week for her. And I'm going to try to get that picture of her scrapbook page. Even if she doesn't have pictures in it, I will get that and I will post that as soon as I get it. So I hope you enjoyed this. All the measurements will be on my blog tomorrow morning, judystamps.com. And until then, everybody, happy stamping.